guys, it's Sekaar, and today we're going to be going over my MagSorc build for update 39. I've been really enjoying this build a lot. I feel like the damage is insane, the sustain is really nice as well, and overall the survivability for a MagSorc, it really feels solid, so I really hope that you guys enjoy. Sorry that I haven't really been posting as often lately. I was over switching my new PC, and it took me a lot of times to get all my settings down proper, and all my issues it was a lot. So now that we've got everything pretty much settled, we're going to start getting these videos back out there regularly, so I hope that you guys enjoy. One last announcement before we get started. If you guys watch any TikTok videos and stuff, I started up a TikTok recently, so if you guys want to go and follow me on that, the link will be in the description. I would appreciate any and all follows. We're at like 150 followers right now, which I think is pretty good for just starting out. So if that's something that you guys enjoy, please don't forget to follow me on that. I would really appreciate that. But guys, without further ado, let's get started. First things first, we're going to look at our character sheet. We're going to be a Breton on our MagSorc. I really like Breton for your overall reduced cost on your magic abilities, and that really just helps your overall sustain. And I just think it's a super solid race as far as magic builds go. Our attributes are going to be 64 points into magic, because your max magic on MagSorc is very important. So overall, your max magic is going to be at 34k, your max health 28k, and your max stamina is going to be 14.7k. But don't worry, all that increases. Do not worry, we have death dealers on this build, so your health is going to get to about 31k, your magic 37, and your stam 17. So it's really nice overall. And if you see, oh wait, let me go to our front bar set real quick. I don't know how to switch on there. There we go. So our front bar set, as you can see, our pen is going to be through the roof on this build. You got 16.4k just chilling, and that's awesome. So your overall damage on this build, like I said, super high. Our Mundus is going to be the mage, so this is going to increase our max magic as much as possible. We're also going to be using our tan pickled fishbowl as our food. This is going to increase our max health by 4,777 and our max magic by 4,357. This is the best way to increase both your overall magic and your health. And then Vampire Stage 3 as always. That way we have that Undeath passive. The Undeath passive, lower health we are, less damage we take. Huge help in PvP. Moving on to our gear, our monster set is going to be Mighty Chudan. We're going to be using a medium well-fitted mask and a light well-fitted shoulder. Both of them are going to have max magic glyphs on them. Mighty Chudan, the reason why we're using that is because it gives us a line of armor, line of health, and then you also get major resolve at all times. So that's going to increase our physical and spell resistance by 6k, and that's at all times. So that frees up a slot on our bar for us, and that's really helpful for MagSorc because you need a lot of different abilities to combo them together to get that overall burst damage down. So this really just frees up a slot and helps you out a lot. Moving on, we're going to be using a heavy chest of the trainee in reinforce, and I've got a prismatic glyph on there because I use it on all my classes, so I really didn't want to switch it over. So I like this. It helps your overall sustain on your health, magic, and stam, and I really think it's best in the slot for that. I really like it. We're using a heavy trainee chest piece in reinforce because we have one extra slot in this build, and this is the best way to get as much health and resistances as possible. Moving on to our front bar set, we're going to be using Shattered Fate as our front bar set. The 5-piece on it, because it's a 5, 10, and 12 piece, we're only using 5 of them. It's going to give us an extra 7,641 offensive pen, and we're using light well-fitted gloves as well. Our other set is going to be our back bar set. It's going to be a light sash of Wretched Vitality in Impen, and this is going to give you a bunch of sustain. So our 2-piece is max magic, 3-piece stam recovery, 4-piece is weapon and spell damage, and the 5-piece is while you're in combat, applying a major buff or debuff to your target gives you 260 magic and stam recovery. Same thing with a minor buff at 130 magic and stam recovery. So if you give yourself a minor buff, so you say you use Resolving Vigor, you're going to give yourself minor resolve. That's going to activate the minor buff part of this. If you're going to be doing the major buff part, you activate Crit Surge, which is going to give you major brutality and sorcery. It's going to activate the major part of this buff. So basically just weaving your abilities on your back bar and just keeping them up at all times is the best way to keep your sustain up at all times as well. So don't forget that. Moving on, we're going to be using Light Shattered Fate legs in Divines with a prismatic enchantment on it. And then also we're going to be using Light Shattered Fate feet in Divines as well with a prismatic enchantment on it. Moving on to our jewelry, we're going to be using a Wretched Vitality for our necklace in the infused trait with a weapon and spell damage enchantment on it. So I just had this already with the infused trait. I think it's really been solid. If I felt like I didn't have enough magic, I would switch to arcane, but overall I really think it is solid, so I'm keeping the infused on there, and I really like it a lot. Our other jewelry is also going to be Wretched Vitality and infused with a weapon and spell damage enchantment on it as well. And then our mythic is going to be Death Dealer's Fate Arcane. I definitely felt like I needed that on there, also with a reduced magic cost on it, because overall I felt like you needed a little bit of help with your sustain on top of your wretched, and this is the best way to combat that. Moving on to our front bar, we're going to be using the Shattered Fate Lightning Staff in the Sharpened trait with the Disease enchantment on it. They changed the way your staves work this patch. So if I go to here, Destruction Staff, go on to here, you see lightning staves increase the damage done with direct damage abilities and channeled effects by 12%. So overall, using lightning staff now is best in slot for your overall damage, for your direct damage, and that is why we're using that on our weapon. So again, sharpened Shattered Fate Lightning Staff, Disease enchantment on it. And then our back bar is going to be an Ice Staff of Wretched Vitality in the infused trait with an increased weapon and spell damage enchantment on it. Ice Staff is just really good for your overall defenses as well. Moving on to our skills, we're going to be using, for our front bar, we're going to be using our main spammable, is going to be Crushing Shock. This is a nice little ability to weave between all of your other abilities, and it's really nice because for crit surge on your back bar, you're going to be wanting to crit as much as possible to keep your healing up, and you always have a 1 in 3 chance to get that when you're doing Crushing Shock, so that's really helpful. And honestly, I just really like the damage on it. It really feels like a solid weave option for MagSorc. And then Hardened Ward, this is going to be your shield. If you need to, spam it. It's pretty cheap, and overall, this keeps you alive so much. Please try to keep your Hardened Ward out as much as possible. It's only a 6-second duration, so try and keep in mind to weave that in between every, like, 2 or 3 abilities or so. And then Mage's Wrath, this is going to be your execute. So when your enemies are at lower health, boom, hit this on them, and it makes them blow up. This ability is so strong. I really like it. Moving on, we're going to be using Streak. This is going to be a great way to both engage into fights, disengage. It's a great CC as well. So overall, Streak is a super solid option, and it does a little bit of damage in an AoE. So if you really need an AoE damage, you can do Streak over somebody. It's not really necessary for that. It's mostly used as a CC or an escape or engage kind of maneuver. And then Crystal Frag, this is going to be a nice little burst damage to weave with your Crushing Shock. You're going to want to use it when you have your frag procced. So if you have that proc going, it's going to hit for 66% more damage, and it's going to cost 50% less. So overall, make sure you're never hard casting your frags. Make sure you only have it going when your whatever is procced, and it's really helpful. I don't really know the name of it. I don't really use MagSorc too often. So basically what you want to do is just make sure your frag is procced, and when it's procced, hit it and then hit something like Crushing Shock real quick, and that burst damage between the two of them is super strong. And then I like Ice Comet a lot on this build. It's the one that does more damage, and honestly, I really noticed the difference between the two. It's really helpful for your damage. If you hit him with the combo and then hit him with Ice Comet and then Streak over them, you can hit him with that Mage's Wrath usually, and a lot of people will blow up from just that combo alone. So overall, try to keep that going in a fight, and it's super solid. So our back bar is going to be Crit Surge as our first ability. This is going to be your source of Major Brutality and Sorcery, so it's going to increase your weapon and spell damage by 20%. On top of that, it's also going to be dealing critical, whenever you deal critical damage, you're going to heal for 4,000 health basically. So you're doing a lot of different, you have a lot of different sources of damage on this build, whether it's Crushing Shock, Mage's Wrath, Streak, Crystal Frags, Ice Comet, Haunting Curse, Overload, or even at least stability. When you have your status effects on them. I don't even know if status effects can crit now that I think about it. Anyways, never mind. As I was saying, you have a lot of different sources of damage on this build, and some of them are bound to crit every second or so. So this is really helpful for your overall healing, your sustain, and honestly, it's just great to have that increased weapon spell damage as well. Moving on to our next ability, we're going to be using Haunting Curse. This is going to be a great little way to line up your burst. If you could line up your Haunting Curse with your Crystal Frag Crushing Shock combo into Mage's Wrath, that does a lot of damage, and a lot of people really can't handle that in this game, and it's just a super solid option to just really get a nice little 100 to 0 real quick on your enemies. Also, Resolving Vigor, this is going to be a nice little 5-second heal over time for you. As well as that, you're also going to be getting Minor Resolve, so it's going to increase your weapon, or it's going to increase your physical and spell resistance by 3k for 20 seconds. I can't even speak anymore. We're also going to be using Dark Conversion, so this is going to be a trade-off. You're going to be sacrificing Stam, and in return, you're going to be getting a lot of health back, and you're also going to be getting magic back as well. And on top of that, you're also going to be getting Minor Berserk for 20 seconds. So try to keep on using this every once in a while in your when you're doing damage. That way, you're getting that Minor Berserk. It's really helpful for your overall damage, and it's just a really solid option as far as your magic and health sustain goes. Now on top of that, Ally Susceptibility. This is going to be your source of major breach on your enemies, so it's going to reduce their physical and spell resistance by 6k. On top of that, every 7.5 seconds, the enemy is going to be afflicted with the Burning, Chilled, and Concussion status effects, so you're just putting so many status effects on them, and you're just doing so much damage. So you're having major breach on them, so it's going to reduce your enemy's physical and spell resistance by 6k. So if we do the math on here, we have a base penetration of 16.4k, increase it by 6k, you basically have 22k pen on them at all times whenever you just do damage. And when you have at least the ability on them, you've got 22k pen. That's insane for your damage. Then your back bar ultimate is going to be Power Overload. This is a nice little ability to weave in between all of your other abilities. If you know how to use this right, it is so much damage. Enemies really don't know what hit them, and it's just a super solid option as far as just your ultimates go. I really like using this for your back bar. I like to combo this. Say I have like 500 ult, I'll be in the middle of a fight and I'll be using Power Overload, just like weaving all my abilities. And once I get down to 200 ult, use Ice Comet on top of that, and dude, your damage is insane. I've been really liking that a lot. As far as our champion points go, our blue slottables are going to be Deadly Aim, Mastered Arms, Untamed Aggression, and Ironclad. Our red slottables, Bastion, Survival Instincts, Sustained by Suffering, and Pain's Refuge. And our green tree, the only things that we really care about are Breakfall, Rationer, and Liquid Efficiency. And that is the entire build, guys. Last thing is I also use tripods on this build, so it helps your overall sustain. But overall, guys, that is the build. I really like it. I hope that you guys enjoy too. A few last announcements. If you did make it to the end of this video, we're about to get the footage, don't worry. But if you're not following the channel, please don't forget to subscribe on the way out. Hit that like button. All that stuff really helps me out in the algorithm so much, and I would just really appreciate you guys help me with that. It's just a few clicks on your guys' end, and it's just free. I don't really ask for much, so if you guys could do that, I would highly appreciate it. Next thing, I have a second YouTube channel, which is just my Twitch VODs. So if you guys want to go and subscribe to that link will be in the description. Once we get that channel to 1,000 subs, we can get it monetized. So that really helps me as a full-time content creator, and it really lets me just do this thing full-time. And I would really, really appreciate if you guys could do that. Please don't forget to click that link as well. It will be in the description. Make sure you're subscribed. It's all I ask for. And then also, I said the TikTok stuff at the beginning of the video, but please don't forget to do that. That link also in the description. And last thing, I promise, last thing, if you're not following the Twitch, I stream on Twitch 5 days a week. That's my full-time thing. That's my main thing that I've been doing lately, so please make sure you're following that. We're about to hit 10k followers in the next month or two, and every single person that follows over there really helps me out, and I would just, with 10k followers is huge. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you guys staying to the end of the video, and I'll see you guys on the next one.